Hello, hello. I'm back from vacation. It's been pretty good. I'm feeling recharged. Let's see what we got. I just updated VS Code. I'm not actually certain. Is this a new one? It says release date October 9th. Also, let me fix this. I'm not certain if some little settings may be off. We had someone staying at our place to look after Abby, and he was using my desk. So I don't know what he adjusted. Is there anything interesting here? I don't think so. I might have seen this. Yeah, I think I've seen this. All right. Hey, April, how you doing? 24/7 stream on day 247. I never want to do a 24-hour stream. I mentioned this in the past, but I think it's nuts the people who do that. I can't imagine doing, well, I guess it all depends on what kind of thing you're streaming. Although I can't imagine streaming anything for 24 hours. But if I were to stream coding for 24 hours, I think after 6, it would be very low productivity. And then after 10, it would be negative productivity. And then I would just ruin my sleep schedule for a while. Anyway, I should probably make a today command. Adam is trying to figure out the localization plan. Namely, what he'll do for translations. He's going to research AI versus humans, the cost of it, how the workflow will look, etc. Okay. So yeah, that's a plan for today. Well, at least the plan for this morning. Here's what I'm hoping. My hope is that AI is great for this, and it's cheap, and it's easy. That's my hope. Because I don't know how much human translation would be, but I can't imagine it's cheap. I also don't know how many strings we have. We might need to look into some of that stuff. So I think we'll just kick this off by starting now. AI translation services, game dev. I've heard of something with deep in the name. All right, I am curious to read about some of this stuff though. Server error. Okay, there it goes. Just curious about people's actual experience. Been looking at the whole AI for game translation. Noticed a bunch of services popping up. This was 2 months ago, so this is pretty recent. Hey, Xyletics, how was AWS? I can help proof for Danish localization, if that was a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Capture this somewhere. Because that is, if I do end up using AI, I want to know how close to the actual words did it get. And I won't be able to tell that myself. I survived AWS 2025. It's the second time this year, right? But yeah, I hope you've been well. How long has it been? I think my last day streaming was the 22nd, so it's been almost 2 weeks, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, well, now there is no other trip planned. And we've got, yeah, most of November, most of December. I say most because there's still some things happening, and I'll probably take a little bit of time for the holidays, but it won't be like a proper vacation. And then sometime in these 3 months, I would love to launch the game. Poetrol, thanks for the resub. Happy 19 months. 19 months is actually about the amount of time I've been working on Skeleseller, right? No, I guess it was, it's close. Okay, anyway, a couple examples I ran across. Aloc AI. An Altagram looks polished, aimed at studios. DMM Game Translate. Insanely cheap, down to 1 penny per word. Wonder how it actually goes. Newer players, marketing a lot to game devs, huh? Hey, Alex. Haven't played the playtest since August and jumped back in last week. What a world of difference. Yeah, it definitely is. Wait, no, you mean August of this year? That shouldn't have been a huge difference, right? Some things changed. Also, I see my camera just did that thing. Some things changed, but I didn't think it should be like that vast. Oh, another thing I want to write down is get rid of my combo. Feels much better. Yeah. The UI definitely got nicer, but a lot of the gameplay is largely the same. Interesting. So they have 0 upvotes here. Localizing games manually is better. Highly doubt they'll adapt phrases, jokes, or rhymes. Translating the product is also interpreting, and AI won't do that. Use proper services and proper translators. If you're going AI, then you can probably just as well use free ChatGPT or similar. Only reason I would pay is if they actually go over the text and don't just leave it up to AI. Proper localization also involves more than just translation. You're looking for the cheaper solutions, and it's probably not the biggest concern. No experience with them personally. I guess you would need to chance or test it and then find a person who understands the language. Interesting. Hey, Sarah. See the words AI. There's going to be a spicy stream in Twitch chat. Well, it all depends on who joins. Hey, Goose. Hey, Phil. You're back. Where'd you go? Yeah, so I didn't share ahead of time, but we went to Boston and then visited my family, which I'm just going to put a question mark because I've never shared that still. But I got to check out Harvard and also just the city in general. Yeah, that was cool. I've been to Boston before, but I've only kind of incidentally been there. I think one time was a long time ago for a Google interview, and then another time was just to make it to some other trip that was going to be happening. So I didn't actually get to experience any part of Boston other than the airport, I guess, which definitely doesn't count. Could set up auto translate of column in Google Sheets in 5 minutes, like Google Translate to French. As far as I know, most localizers prefer that over everything else. Is this a thing? I've never seen this. Is sheets.new a site you can go to? Yeah. Boston Common. I don't know what that is. Public Park. Did I go there? Yeah, I went there. I think. Did I go? I can't tell from these photos. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so I kind of want to try this. So let's put a thing here. How does this work? Text source language. I see. Okay, so we could put something here like, wow, where's the cursor? Oh, it's there. You just can't see it. A1, comma. Does that work? Test. How do you, God, I don't know how to use Google Sheets. Can't I just like select a thing? Oh, there we go. It's just A1. I see. Does not support the language ENG. Maybe EN? Okay. This is a test. Aha. That's actually really interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Huh. So if we add a row above and we put English, Spanish, French, and do that. Oops, I typed FP. Man, the cursor is so hard to see here. I see that it's there. And maybe it's just dark mode, but like, look, it's literally 1 pixel wide. There's no way to make this easier to see. Well, anyway, okay. So yeah, here's a thing that we can do. Person from a localization company here. We experience setting up an MTPE workflow. What is that? Machine translation post-editing. When a human takes a machine translation and brings it up to scratch. Yeah, this sounds pretty interesting. Hey, Joss, thank you. Nice skull next to your name. Fright Fest 2025. Man, I should have gotten that so I could have a skeleton next to my name. Is it too late for that? Badge was earned by users who shared the best 2025 Fright Fest clips. Can I still get this? I want a skeleton next to my name. November 2nd? Oh, man. Yeah, I missed it by a day. Wow. If only I'd known. You had to share a clip. Yeah, look at all these skulls in chat. If you're a month. That would have been a really good thing to have. Oh, well. Okay, so this is interesting. I did not know about this. is when a human takes a machine translation, brings it up to scratch, blends the skill and accuracy that the post editor brings to the task with the speed and convenience of using machine translation. Done well, it can result in high quality translations that save businesses time and money. So this sounds pretty interesting. Hey, Cosmic Revolution. Taking some courses and tutorials on YouTube for Godot and GDScript, and I want to avoid becoming dependent on them and falling into this trap. Do you have any advice on how to avoid this? I'm new to this field and have no experience. From where should I really need to start? So I think avoiding, you're talking about over-reliance on tutorials, but it really over-reliance on anything, I think comes down to just kind of not thinking or not like exercising your own agency and brain. So with tutorials specifically, it's like you should eventually come up with a problem for yourself, which is pretty much the same as a project. So like it could be something like I want to make Tetris. And then you'd break it down from there. Like I want to get the input working. I want to get the whatever block rotation working. So those would be your problems. And then come up with what's your plan before you've even done any other, like don't look at a tutorial or anything. How would you get input working? Have you done this before? What did you do then? How would you do it now? How would you find out if there were no tutorial? And then there's the execution on that plan. I think the plan phase is what's really important though, because you have your own little feedback loop here. You come up with your plan. You might say something like, okay, my plan is look at my old project and see how I got like WASD working. And then I don't know, I'll use that. Your plan might not actually work, but when you find out what the real plan is, it's like, oh, okay, this is bad for some reason. It's like, well, now go back and think, what could I have done to come up with a better plan? And what did I learn now that's going to help me in the future? So it's basically just weaning yourself off of tutorials and trying to think for yourself and figure out what would I do here. I won't delve too far into the history of this. Yeah, so this workflow is going to be important. And I don't know what's going to be easiest for people here. Like, do I want a spreadsheet of everything? It could track the last modified date, have automatic Google translations for things by human date, etc. Maybe I could even pull it into the game somehow. Also, I don't know how much this would cost. And I don't even know, you don't probably find like one universal translation service. You probably have to find it for individual languages. And how do you vet those people? How do I find, like, one, which languages should I even be targeting? How do I find translators for those languages? How do I vet them? You read. You have a vacation? Yeah. Yeah, I tried to make it as apparent as I could. I posted on Discord and Twitch and had my like countdown and then kept the stream title of the last day before vacation. There's also a schedule on Twitch, which I know people don't use, but I try to keep that up to date as well. So there I had my vacation marked on it. But yeah, anyway, I think it's very tough to get everyone in the know about that stuff. Hey, Leap Your Girl. Yeah, I feel pretty good. Oh, thank you for the bits. I feel pretty good. I'm a little nervous about what I'm going to discover with all this translation stuff here, because I don't want it to take forever. I don't want it to cost a ton of money. And yeah. Anyway, let's keep reading through some of this stuff. 35 to 50% cost savings on translating game updates without sacrificing quality, but this answer only scratches the surface. There's a lot of work done under the hood to make it happen, and several factors matter, like the existing localization, legacy, and its quality. Quite lucky to get the client's permission to tell their transition story in details. Here it is. Be curious but short on time. Jump to MTP is not a silver bullet section. Interesting. Pro Z to get in touch with some agency. Are you? Oh, this is this person posting though. They're probably advertising their services. I work at this localization. Over the past 5 years, we've tracked which languages clients most often localize from English. Some interesting trends are emerging. Target languages that used to dominate are gradually losing share. Others are climbing the ranks. Specifically, oh man, French maintained its #1 position. Simplified Chinese. Japanese. Italian declined. Huh. All right, I guess let's write this down. French, simplified Chinese, Japanese, Italian. I feel like Spanish or Portuguese or Korean. I'm just going to write these down too, based on what I've seen people make YouTube videos about. Spanish, Korean. Actually, I'm not sure if there was, I think there was a Brazilian streamer. So yeah, they must have been using Portuguese, but there are two flavors of Portuguese, right? European and Brazilian. I don't know if I were to only target one, which one I would target. All right, simplified Chinese climbing isn't just about raw player numbers. It's about how publishers are finally investing in treating it as more of a nice to have. Still localizing in the same core languages. E-figs. I don't know what that is. English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, probably. Yeah, English, French, Italian, German, Spanish. Okay, so we just write German down. So we have English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, yeah. Hey, Smurf. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, what else did this person say? CJK, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and PTBR, so Brazilian, Portuguese. Okay, I mean, this at least narrows it down. I would not suggest using machine translations or LLMs for a game. If you need a quick placeholder for an update or placeholder for release for testing, they're fairly common. They do a really bad job of not making your game look bad. What? I recognize you're selling MTPE, but the light touch editing ones aren't really better. And if you're getting a manual review of every line anyway, you might as well just pay for humans to do it from the start. Localization is not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, except for very wordy titles like visual novels. Yeah, I don't know what the cost is. Time to send LLMs. Touched upon localization recently with my own project, just briefly, but I was looking at how string interpolation would work with that, since I'm anticipating text that may need to be rearranged. Haven't come up with any deep insights yet, but that may be a factor to consider if it has dynamic text. We've got at least the technical side of localization pretty much figured out. So we have, I don't know what a good example of this is. I don't know, let's look at Fireball. Yeah. So this is an example, a description. It hurls a fireball at a single enemy and then there's a parameter here. So another language could decide to construct this differently. And then we have some dynamic strings, which just out of laziness, I don't think we did a whole lot with yet. But I guess if we search for these, we could maybe find maybe a slightly better example. Yeah, things like this have just more parameters, I guess. Power, duration, a particular color it's used. Also, I'm gonna have to figure that out too. What does the workflow look like? How do we handle text formatting? How do we handle strings that shouldn't be updated, like note color? I guess let's just put a thing there. There. Hey, Bokanon. I'll be right back. It's super warm in this room. Okay. Oh. I don't know if that's actually going to help what I just did. The heat has not been on. And I mean, temperature outside is pretty chilly, but I worked out this morning and then I had a hot shower. Which is probably a mistake. I probably should have had a cooler shower. Okay, what else do we have here? Yeah, I think one of the biggest questions is what does it actually cost? What does it cost per language to do a human translation? And it's almost certainly based on workload. So like, what is our actual, what is our number of words to translate? And the other question I have is like, should we hold off on launching until until the translations are good enough? Hmm. Creativity level and cognitive effort. Really struggles with quest and dialogue, jokes and wordplay, lore. Use it selectively. LMs reduce manual effort on low risk text. Yeah, there probably are a decent number of those sorts of things where it's like we have an OK button and we could probably pretty easily understand what that's supposed to be. Although I don't know how many of those we really have. Way more important than people make it out to be. And Italian barely registers, ranks below Polish, at least for my games. It may be EFPGS. Polish and Japanese. I imagine once we've done like 5 of these languages, it should be pretty easy to just apply the workflow to another language. All right, localization, AI. Would you use it? Why do all these get 0 votes on them? Maybe because it shows up all the time and people are just annoyed by it. Human where possible, budget and priority by language market. Optionally, some more translations using AI, but with a label for it. Polish AI, Spanish AI. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a good thing to write down. Conclusions. If we do use AI for a language, we should show that in the language menu, e.g. Polish AI. Have you benchmarked what localization the human way would cost Skeleseller? No, I need to look that up. Yeah. I am just doing this research starting now, basically. Even if there's a magnitude gap, if it turns out you only need to spend 1,000 versus 200, maybe the magnitude isn't so answer changing. Yeah, that's possible. And yeah, I don't know what it would cost to do this or how long it would take them. I guess that's another thing I need to figure out. How long would it take a human to translate everything? All right, if you're limited in funds, best way to do it is to translate with AI and then get an actual translator proofread. I'm curious about what people say the costs are. AI translation with very thorough human post editing is the way to go. Financially, purely human translation is not affordable for most indies. Interesting. It's also not guaranteed, especially if it was cheap, that the translation is good. Huh. It sounds like I'm doing some like AI based route at first. If you'd make me proofread AI content, I'd charge you more than doing it on my own. I mean, but not everyone would, right? Like, just presumably wouldn't get your services if I were to do that. Any other insights here? Want the game in other languages to retain any of the charm of the original? Better not add bad stuff to begin with than to try and find all of it to take it back out. I guess we need the original string in a spreadsheet if we did that. Could have context notes. Could have the original English string. I think it's pretty offensive to do someone's job with AI then ask them to proofread it. Why? I mean, it's up to a person to figure out if they want to accept the job, right? Like, imagine a job posting that said something like C or I don't know, COBOL developer, and your response is something like, this is offensive. It's like someone out there is going to say, oh yeah, that's a job posting I want to do. It's not like something's inherently offensive about the thing. It's not like, hey, we're looking for people to kill a bunch of innocent civilians or something. It's like they're just a developer in another language. I understand the context here. I'm not trying to paint a straw man argument for this. I'm just saying, shouldn't this be in the eye of the beholder of the person trying to take the job? At my company, we hired translators and it turned out they used AI. Our salesperson for French market was so embarrassed. Yeah, that's another thing I'm kind of concerned with. How do you even know they're doing a good job? I think I have this written down. Yeah, how do I vet them? What if they just use AI? Just proofread is much less work than translating yourself. Hey, Malbec. It's going to be hard no matter which way you go on this. The one benefit I'd say is that I could have a human translator do a little bit and then ask some people from chat who speak that language to say, like, does this sound like a native person wrote this or that an AI wrote it? What else do we have? We still need an editor who speaks the language. Strive to only use people's work for the art, programming, and music. So it's a shame we publish a game that hey, uses AI just because of text localization. Oh yeah, that's another thing I gotta do. Also, if we use AI, we probably need to change the thing on Steam to say that the game was made using AI. Hey, Forgetful. Viewer labor? I mean, it's just like, hey, does this string look good? I'm not saying translate the whole game. It's like, imagine if I had a sentence on stream right now and this was in French and I'm like, does this sound normal to people? That's all I'm asking for. To find someone else to check how good the one person from your chat speaks that language. Yeah. I think there are more people in chat who probably speak each language. But yeah, anyway, this is a very interesting problem in terms of almost no one can do the translation to every language themselves. And even if they could, they might not want to. But like, how many people out there speak 9 languages fluently? Not many. So you have to involve someone else and you kind of have to trust their work. And it's not something as verifiable as like, hey, go make me a website. And you go on the website and you're like, okay, there's the submit button, there's the, language menu, there's the whatever else. Like you can verify these things even if you don't know how to code this website. But you can't verify translations yourself. Yeah. All right, I would trust actual translation tools like Google Translate over AGI, but everything needs human verification because intricacies of language. Seen AI be embarrassingly wrong enough to not trust it. Another thing we could do is have like a multi-layered approach. I could have like an LLM with prompts about the context, like this is a game, it's light and casual. And then I could have Google Translate on top of that. And then I could have humans sort of at the end of the pipeline. One of the things I was trying to do is I originally want to keep the budget under $500. And we've spent about $250 so far. And I don't think it's possible to do all the translations in $250. So that's another problem that I'm kind of trying to figure out. Hey, Zadik. And hey, Cruddlefish. I would trust actual translation. I've seen AI be embarrassingly wrong. Yeah, so we've read through this one. I wonder what else is on here. Offline AI that learns to survive. Open source projects to integrate AI into your game. This one I think we already saw. Yeah, we already saw this one. Ask me anything. 8 upvotes. Maybe help if you add semantics to each string, like this is a button for starting the game. Yeah. Although I want to be careful not to have so much metadata. I don't know how many strings we're going to have that we need translated. But in this case, we have... I think all of these are just translations. Not every single one of them, but we already have 533 of these. Like, I don't want to write 500 descriptions for this is a button, this is a spell, this is a whatever else. Ryan, thank you for the tier 3 sub. It's very generous of you. Congrats on your new purchase. How many translations do you have so far for the 250? Oh, 0. I haven't done anything. This is like hour number 1 of us even researching this stuff. Remember that coming up frequently in the editor notes I've read of games being translated? Yeah. The other thing I kind of wonder about is, and I was talking to my wife about this, if like Final Fantasy VII, the remake, if you had some English string that was like, we need to go to the killing of the enemy boss, you'd be like, this is garbage. You'd get mad because they had enough money to make an entire game and all these like high quality assets. But if you saw that in an indie game and it was in a language that you're certain they didn't speak, because this happens when you're playing like a Chinese game that was localized to English. You see something like this and you're just like, well, whatever, I can understand the game. Like in some cases it doesn't get in the way. Glad your rations. Oh, winner is you. I finally cracked and decided to step over the fear hurdle and started working on a game idea I've been mulling over for a long time. Currently working out Godot and Rust. Build a minimal fun nugget and build from there. I am happy for you. That sounds good. The Godot and Rust stuff, I will say one thing about this. So I'm guessing maybe you're using Bevy. I'm not positive, but in general, what I've heard is like iteration times are slower when using Rust. That's what I've generally heard. I have not tried this myself, and I should put this here in game dev, are slower when using Rust. So if that ends up being the case for you, maybe consider switching. But if it seems like things are going pretty fast, Godot and pure Rust, okay, yeah. Yeah, so I know it might seem like a programming sin to start using GDScript, but it might be worth at least trying it. If you look at like Donald Duck comics, localization for some languages even invent their own words and stuff. Yeah, I'm not arguing that human translation would be best if it's a good translator. I don't think you could top that probably. But I also think it'd be the most expensive. And I'd have to go find like 8 different individual people, follow up with all of them, etc. Ember, thank you for the resub. Happy 28 months. Okay, so let's go back to this. So this is 4 months ago. What are the kinds of questions people ask? This person's showing up everywhere. I think they really want to post their own business or something. I don't know. As a solo dev, what a recommendation tool for translations? Is a Google Sheet good enough, or are there better alternatives using Godot? Cloud-based localization management platform? It's too much for your needs. Have you heard about Tolji? Open source dev-friendly localization platform, in context editing, translation memory, GitHub integration, free trial. Man. Also, yeah, they're linking to their site everywhere. Do you want to say it seems like a lot? It seems a lot of the nuance here is between the distinction between translation and localization. When you get something professionally localized, the text may get altered drastically to fit the humor of the target audience. Yeah. And you know, one of the things that I see happening right now is, by the way, there have been Skeleseller videos in lots of languages so far. Not many of them, but there's been like a German video and a Turkish video and a Korean video and a Chinese video and a Spanish, well, actually maybe a couple of some of these, but there are probably 3 or 4 more languages. And what they tend to do, because the game is only in English right now, what they tend to do is they tend to read what's on the screen kind of silently, and then they translate it for their audience. And they're still having fun playing the game. So I can imagine that if I got something that was like 80% of the way there, maybe it's like 80% quality with AI, that they'd be like, okay, well, at least I don't need to translate for my audience. Oh, thank you, Leap Hero. You said when you were away, so it's kind of, yeah, the 6-7 thing. God, that all of a sudden popped up on like everyone's radar. Time flies when you're watching Skeleseller grow. It does. And thank you for the resub. So many languages so far. Yeah, it is kind of funny that that happened. And it's the other thing that's kind of cool is that YouTube added in auto dubbing, which is crazy. If you guys haven't seen something like this, man, it's nuts. So for example, the person who was streaming in Spanish, I put my headphones in and listened in English. So it's not them, it's not their voice, but I could at least follow along with what's happening. Whereas before, what I would have had to do is I'd have to turn on the closed captioning and have it auto translate to English. It would make a bunch of mistakes, but like then you have to read everything that's showing up. It's so much easier to just listen with the voice. Dumbest feature in existence. Bokanon, you have the weirdest takes. You just have the weirdest takes. Okay, please explain. I'll bite. Why? I am just so shocked by this. It's like all this does is increase accessibility. I hate auto dubbing, and the worst part is they don't let you choose to turn it on or off. I think they let no, they do let you turn it off. At least on the website. I could hear the original audio because sometimes I want to hear their voices for these things. I know that at least for, if I search for Skeleseller, I don't know if French will actually show up with the thing, and I don't remember this person's name. No, where is it? They were a French YouTuber. Their name started with an M. I don't see it. Oh man. Yeah, I can't find it. Well, I guess I could just find any French video. Uh, I'll look for a tiny bit longer. No, I don't see it. Oh, you know what? I have a playlist that might have it. Let me take a look at that. Skeleseller videos from other people. Here we go. Let me mute this site entirely. And it should be one of the newer ones on the list. Ah, this was quite smart. Now, please tell me it's actually here. Memoria? I think it's this person. Yes, it is. Okay, so this has audio track. We can change the audio, the auto dubbing here. Okay, Bokanon, I think you're forgetting a very key point of this chat. Ever use a computer language other than English? You can set your language, one language, and it'll dub to that one. Doesn't matter if you speak three. You don't need a browser plugin to disable it. It'd be fine if it wasn't automatic. So wait, your only problem is that it's automatic? That doesn't sound like it's the dumbest feature in existence, right? You can't turn it off. Well, at least on the web platform, you can turn it off. I don't know if I loaded this video on my phone, what would happen? I guess I could just search for it. Memoria. Let me see. Because, yeah, I gotta say, if you can't turn it off, that does sound frustrating. But that also kind of just sounds like a bug to me. Memoria Skeleseller. Weirdly enough, this doesn't even find their video. Like, I typed in the name of their channel. Memoria, right? Yeah, weird. How does that not find it? Even just typing Memoria doesn't find their channel. What? Okay, well, I'm not going to bother with this right now. Truly hope you can turn it off for videos to try to teach people other languages. Yeah, like I said, you can definitely turn it off. Like, this is the feature. I can turn it off here. I don't know about in the app because I can't load up this video for some reason. But, yeah, you at least can on the website. So I imagine it's got to be coming to the app if they don't have it there already. Hey, Goose. Okay, where do we leave off with this? Making a quite dialogue and characterization heavy game. Okay, I want to look up what's the cost of game dev AI. Actually, maybe I should search Reddit for this. Translation cost. How expensive is it to pay for localization? Maybe change it now. When I contacted YouTube about it, they said it can't be turned off. And if you watch someone for their voice and how they make a patient sound funny or scared. Oh, yeah. If you can't turn it off, like I said, I think that is a problem. But the feature itself, I don't think it has to be perfect for you to be able to now access a bunch of media that you couldn't before. And this is kind of the dream, right? Like, if I'm an English YouTuber, I'm not going to go make the same video 8 different times, even if I did speak 9 different languages, or 8 more times, I guess. So I'm going to make an English video, and that means that I'm going to reach the English-speaking population online. And if I want to reach, let's say, I don't know, a bunch of German people who don't speak English, like, I just wouldn't have a way of doing that without making another video. So I think in terms of accessibility and just reach, I think it really helps. Okay, so yeah, how much does it cost to hire? About 12 to 18 cents per word per language. Though you may find varying prices. That'll give you a ballpark. This was a year ago. 12 to 18 cents per word per language. Let's just get a link to this. How much should it cost? 12 to 18 cents per word. I don't know if you know this, but Mr. Beast actually hires voice actors for the big languages and dubs his videos himself. Oh, you can add your own dubs? I didn't realize that. But yeah, if you're a mega YouTuber, you can afford to do that. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you know, for your average person who's making videos that get fewer than, let's say, 50,000 views, you just wouldn't put in the resources to do that yourself. Oh, wait, what else does this thread say? Can be cheap if you do not rely on text as your main source of communication. Icons, pictures, sound effects. Yeah, I already have a bunch of text in the game, though. Can expect to pay at least 10 cents per word per language. I agree that 10 to 15 cents per word is a decent benchmark. The usual most important languages are French, Italian, German, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese. I think these are all the ones I have written down. Yeah. Spanish YouTube audience is huge. Yeah, you know what though? I don't think Skeleseller is a great game to watch other people play. I think it's a fun game to play, but it doesn't have like stream appeal. You have an upper bound on how much text is in your game yet? Word, line, some general figures. I need to look into that still. And I don't even have the perfect way of doing it through here. So as an example, this string, whoops, this string is, let's just search for spaces here to get a rough estimate. All right, so this is like a 23 word string. So 23 times 15 is $3.45 to translate this one string. This is why I was thinking this is not going to be, I mean, I guess we can approximate, right? How would I do this? All right, here's an approximation at least. Let's search for all the equal signs and let's get everything after that, which should just be the strings. Then let's delete the first character and then do a search for spaces. Oh, it's getting like a bunch of spaces in a row. Okay, hang on. We can delete that, right? No, we should just delete the private const stuff. Just delete the whole line. No, just that. But then we have description equals and nothing afterward. All right, well, like I said, this is an estimation. So now let's search for these. So we have 1150. Do all these look like they're word boundaries? Not all of them. But like close enough. Yeah, close enough. So 1150 words times 15 cents is $172. But that's not all of the words in the project. So I haven't localized everything yet for English. And I don't know what amount I haven't done. We'd probably need to figure that out. I don't know an easy way to do that. Yeah. I guess you have to give a build of your game when you're asking for a translation. You probably do. And welcome in, Lamar. I would imagine it helps them for context. But I guess you could also just give them a list of strings and tell them where this shows up, or even pictures. Like, I'm not sure if playing the game is needed. The other thing is, what are the odds that they like play through your whole game to see where each string is used? Maybe some only show in certain cases and they can't go back to get to that case. Games translate after release. Perhaps see where the biggest other language demand is. Yeah, that's another thing that I gotta think about. Like, when should we get the translations? Maybe we release, see which markets are popular, and then translate. Maybe we just use AI at first. Yeah. Use AI as a placeholder. Might also be dependent on content. Maybe something that's informative isn't too bad auto-dubbed. But for example, somebody like Kipoga, where the voices are one of the main characteristics, which make it funny. Yeah. I think proper subtitles would be good for that. I will say, for these Skeleseller videos where someone just like recorded in their own language, it allowed me to watch them when otherwise I would have been unable to watch them. Now, granted, YouTube actually has two features on this front. They have auto closed captioning and then they have auto dubbing. So auto closed captioning has existed, I'm pretty sure, for like years now, or at least a couple years. So that's a decent way. But if you didn't have either of these, like what would you do? You just wouldn't watch the video because you wouldn't understand anything. Hey, Manic Bind, vacation was good. It was really nice. Yeah, how has the launch of Seedborn Soldiers been going? I've been trying to pay attention to the Steam page, and I saw you hit your, I think, 11 reviews when I last checked. Problem with auto dubbing is you can't turn it off. People keep saying this, but at least on the website you can turn it off. Maybe not in the app, but I imagine that's going to be coming eventually. CC needs a lot of improvement, sadly. Proper translation in languages like Dutch. Yeah. Yeah, at least for English, and at least in my experience, it has allowed me to understand generally what's going on in a video. Yeah, you can. Oh man, I gotta find this video again if I'm gonna show you this again. Yeah, I closed it. All right, let me go to YouTube, my playlist. Huh, interesting. Maybe this is it? Yeah, this is it. All right, so there's the Memoria video. Yeah, so here's a French video for Skeleseller, and I can go into audio track and just set it to English. Or, sorry, French. French is the original. I'll just include a link to this here. French video for Skeleseller. Okay, so cost is about maybe 15 cents per word, they said. For some languages, you can definitely get localization under 10 cents. These wouldn't be your first choice languages. I don't even plan on targeting these languages at first. All these numbers imply a standard workflow that involves a two-step process, translation and review done by different people. The default for a reason. Hmm. Oh yeah, I gotta localize the trailer. Forgot about that. Thanks. Yeah, it's been going. Just really crazy seeing a number of people discussing strategy for the game. Yeah, it's fun, right? I think launch is an exciting time. Then I think post-launch for anything I've done has always kind of felt like, oh God, the work isn't ending. Granted, hang on one sec. Excuse me. Granted, for your game, you knew you were going into early access, so you knew that there was no chance of this being like the end of it. Okay, so cost-wise, I think we got a pretty good idea, at least from a year ago. We do need to figure out how many words we have. So in general, for already localized stuff we did in English, it looks like we have, what is this number? 1150, about 1200 words, I'll say. But I don't know what percentage has not been localized. So if I go in something like Ice Blast as an example here, okay, we did Ice Blast. Maybe I'll just click a bunch of other ones. This doesn't actually show up in the game. Where else? Lightning Zaps. Nope, that's already been done too. All right, let's just keep clicking some of these until we find one that wasn't done. Nope, that was done. That was done. Okay, not bad. I think we did it for a bunch of abilities, but not all of them. Okay, no, we did it for that. What about this? We did it for that. It's actually kind of funny. We did this for a lot of these. I wonder where we didn't do it. Is there a way to search for which files don't contain this? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we could just search for this. And then maybe cross-reference this list. Like search for game, no, not even game source abilities, game source. All right, so there are all the files that contain, oh yeah, we could do it this way. The import for i18n, and then we can get all of the files under here. No, all the files under game source. How do we do that? Skeleseller, CD, game source. Is there a way you can do like tree dash B? How does tree work? No manual entry. There's probably a way to do this. A perfect alibi. I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT. I am on Mac OS and want to get a list of all file paths under a certain directory. Is the shell command to do that? Probably something. Yeah, you can use find. Okay, of course. All right, so just find dot. I want it with the full path though. I wonder how we do that. Man, find. Oh, maybe I could do it by doing this. Find dot slash game slash source. Oh, that kind of works. Hey, Brainoid. All right, so put this on PB copy. Reviews for free copies of the game don't count. Oh. So they have to buy them. It's a good thing to know. This is every single file, though. We only want to know the files that contain strings. I guess let's just look at abilities then. Yeah, ugh. It's going to be annoying. All right, let's find all of these and do one of those, and then take this and copy all the ones that start with abilities and put this here, and then put a dot slash, and then diff this with the other file. Is it the same? Every single ability has been done? Seriously? Or I diffed against the wrong file. Diff this. We need to put colons on everything or delete the colons from here. Yeah. So compare with diff this. All right. No, it is not the same. So what? The passive abilities weren't done? No, I need to alphabetize this. Oh my God. All right, fine. Fine. This is a waste of time, probably. All right. Okay, now we see some different things. Oh, this had UID files. So let's delete all the UID files. Okay, look at that. We're figuring something out here. So Spirit Fairy Heal showed up twice? We need to remove duplicates then? All right, we're getting there. So Vampiric Bite. Let's go take a look at that one. Vampiric Bite. Aha! Unlocalized strings. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is how we find out where I have not done the localization. And yeah, there are a bunch. But what we were trying to do is figure out what is the percentage we need to add on here. And it looks like for every file that we've localized, which are the ones in white, we have double the number of files that haven't been localized, which are the ones in green. Yeah. I don't know if it's double. Is there some like easier approximation here? You could pretty much just take this bar, and if you were to stack all of the greenish sections together, how much would it fill? And it's probably like 2/3. Let's just approximate 2/3, which means I would need to multiply by 2. And that's just for abilities. Probably only localize maybe 33%. So that amount of words that we had, we could probably say is like 2,500, which means it would cost maybe, let's just estimate like $500 per language. It's me, the censored Discord user. I can see the original message in the admin only chat. But yeah, sorry it blocked you. My buddy's wanted the key so that he could have a large number of hours played at review time. His review didn't count. I wonder. Yeah. I was going to say, I wonder if they're buying the game, you basically only have to pay taxes and Valve's cut which probably works out to like 40%. So you could like give free keys by paying 40% of the price of your game. You basically Venmo them some money and then just take the loss, I guess. But yeah, that would that's something you now only know. But I guess I can make a new Steam account. No keys for friends is. How's your game going, Brainoid? Okay, also we got to put in the work toward localizing this other stuff. Maybe we do like a hangout stream, just crank this stuff out. We need to finish localizing for English. Searching for, actually, maybe we could just get the list. Is there an easy way to do this? Yes, there is. We could save this as a patch file, right? Can you do that? No, apparently not. Can you save this? Does this work? Test.patch? It does not. And now it deleted what I had. Oh. Okay, well, that was a waste. I want to get the list of things that. Oh, it deleted everything. Oh God. I can't get it back. Announced my release date last week. It's November 18th. Wow, nice. 15 days. Yeah. I will write this down too. Yeah, for those wondering, so Seedborn Soldiers is Monadic Bind's game, and Replicat is Brainoid's game. And there are links to both of them if you'd like to check them out. Yeah. There's a demo for both, I think. Where'd Seedborn Soldiers go? Yeah, there's a demo for both. If anyone wants to check this stuff out. Okay, actually, I wonder if we need to do this. How do I do this again? We want this over here, and then this to be diffed with. Oh wait, then we got to delete UID files though. And any DS store things, and anything that doesn't end in a slash, whatever, or an extension. Please work. Oh, right. One other thing we got to do is delete everything that doesn't have abilities in it. Gotta have a way of finding this stuff. Yeah, we're gonna need a bunch of tooling for this. Okay, let's look this up. As long as I'm searching for things. So let's say, is there a way to find all files under a certain directory that do not contain a particular string? Okay, that's easy. So how would I do this? We want to find the using for internationalization. So there. And we're going to plug that into here. Path is going to be, I guess just dot, doesn't matter. Dash type F exec grep blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's try that. CD game source. Hey, look at that. Wow, that's a lot. I guess we don't want UID files. So can't we pipe this into like grep dash v dot UID? And then, I don't know how this works. Yeah, I guess let's just not worry about that. Hey Ryan, vacation was good. I am feeling recharged. I'm feeling ready to tackle some of this work. Also made some merch. I'm gonna hand them out in online festivals in China. Nice, cool. Oh, ask me questions about my publisher before I can update you about that. Helped a lot with localization, providing me a QA team, and I'm still getting a good amount of bug reports every day. Nailed a good amount of bundles with decent games, and now they started marketing push. See the graph going up. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, I wish you luck. I think we all need a little bit of luck nowadays. All right, so every single one of these files does not contain. Oh, you know what I could do? I could just search for .cs. How many do we get? 699. So one of these is not a CS file. I wonder which one. I mean, I guess technically we could. Oh, there it is. Right there. What is it? The README. Okay. But otherwise, every single one of these is a C# file. And then what we'd want to do after this is we want to figure out which ones contain strings. So like, let's say we open this up. This doesn't contain a string as far as I know. Yeah. Well, it does technically contain a string, but these are not shown to the user. So like this is not a file that needs to be localized, but this probably is. Relentless Crush. Yeah. It's got a name, just hard-coded, cooldown hard-coded, and allows you to use this more rapidly hard-coded. Okay, well, anyway, this is the thing we would do to find this, or at least to start to find this. Can't say, but welcome back. Hope you had a good vacation. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was a good vacation. So running this command helps find files that didn't import the I18N stuff. Note that not all of these files contain strings that need to be localized. Central Station. Maybe that's the coding language we're using. Okay, so we got an answer about the cost. 12 to 18 cents per word. So I think that's done. And where is the... Yeah, I guess let's write this down. Seems like the cost is about 12 to 18 cents per word. Cool. AI versus humans. What do people have to say about this online? So I'm still kind of torn on this. In my opinion, well, not in my opinion, I guess kind of everyone has this, and it's just your opinion on what to use. But your routes that you can use are pure AI or like machine translations or like this is option 1, option 2. These are in no particular order. Is like start with option 1 and then have humans edit them. Option 3, pure human. That's about it, right? Or I guess like the other options are kind of just mixes of these things. Like we could do option 3 for the top few languages and then option 1 until we find out there's a market. I only found out the human cost, by the way. I don't know what the AI cost would be. Since AI was a thing, option 2 is always when I go to. I think it's what I'm going to do too. Trackley. But I do need to answer that question. How much does it cost? How much does it cost per word of AI translation? And I guess if you're just using Google Translate, it's free. We could change it to anything. We could say like, welcome to Skeleseller. This is a great game. I just press enter and it just auto translates these. And who knows if it did a good job. I mean, I'm not trying to verify that right now, but you could just copy paste this into the game now. And then at least people would recognize like, oh, hey, I can read that text. It may not be good. It may not be perfect, but it's a start. Could just use Claude Pro Max X20 or whatever. 200 a month would do most of the files for you, unless you want to use an API, of course. Yeah, I need to figure out the workflow. If we use AI, or are we just giving AI access to the code? I also wonder, like, how good would Copilot do on this? If I just go to Fireball and I say new chat, I don't need an agent. Ask edit. Edit files in your workspace. Okay. Modify fireball.cs so that the strings at the bottom are in French. I just want to see what will happen. Okay, interesting. All right, now I want to copy this into Google Translate. Launch a fireball at a single enemy, dealing some number of points of damage. So at least literally it translates, but yeah, who knows if this is what someone would say in an RPG for French. There's a Google Translate function. Yeah, apparently. I didn't know about this. Hey, Bressel. How goes it? I was thinking about you this morning as I was working out. We're giving AI access to the code. We can have Copilot change strings directly in files. I think we can do this for free, right? Well, for free. I'm paying for it no matter what. But what I mean is Copilot has some concept of premium requests, but I think it's only for certain models. I'll take that as a compliment. Can I ask a follow-up question? Only if it's all in one chat message. See plans for GitHub Copilot. I think I have 200 requests, but where's the table that says which ones, maybe this? Which ones cost? There's a table somewhere. I don't know what that is. Premium requests. I would expect it to be on this page. See requests for details on which models and features consume premium stuff. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so what am I using? GPT-5 Mini is a 0 multiplier, so it doesn't cost anything, and that's what we were using for that. Okay, interesting. As mid-set motivation? No, I was just thinking about our conversations about working out, that's all. Mid-set motivation. I'm like struggling to bench, and I'm like, a pretzel! Launch it right through the ceiling. All right, so in general, the sentiment is kind of mixed. It feels like the people doing game dev are generally saying they are trying to save money in some cases. How are you going to structure the languages, though? What do you mean by that? Like, how am I going to give a spreadsheet of a bunch of different names or something? What did I just do? I'm not actually trying to keep this. Why does it have a modification? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so like we have okay and cancel and whatever else, some other things, and we want those translated. Because yeah, I need to figure out how we're going to do that. We have files. I forgot what they're called. I guess I can search for it here. Because Kevin started working on this, and he even translated a bunch of things for Spanish. I guess they're POT files? PO files? How do we find... Huh, I don't know where these are. Maybe I need to generate these? Or maybe they're all in here? What is going on? Why do I not have these files? Huh, let me try something here. FF type PO. That's it? Okay, I think I need to generate something. Generate. Wait, but then how did... Something's wrong. If I search for this... Oh, did we only localize these things? Okay, maybe that's what we did. Yeah, so these are what Kevin manually translated. You can see the Spanish here and then the English string here. If you already finished translations, feel free to not message me. Gotcha. Why did I look at this? Oh yeah, because we have a message ID. Yeah, so what we'd probably need is some other, like a context string or maybe a picture where this shows up. I think it'd be really neat to get a picture for all of them. I think it'd also be practically impossible to do that. For these, it might not be so bad. But we have a lot of like ability descriptions in the game. Oh, I guess you don't really need to see them for all of them, right? If I just load up the game here. Do I have, what is this playing? Okay, good, yeah. So for abilities, let's just go into story mode. turn off the music. Okay, so for abilities, for this, for example, let's just take a screenshot of this. So there's split shot. As a translator, it doesn't matter whether this is split shot, fireball, or anything else. They all show up in the same spot. Yeah. So I think we just need a picture of one of them. Although maybe you'd want to know what the ability does. Well, the English will tell you what the ability does. Yeah. I can translate into NYC English. Okay. I'm going to hold you to it. So we need context for, well, I wonder where the bulk of our word usage comes from. I need to do that. In fact, I wonder if that's the top priority. I think this may be the top priority so that we can figure out our word burden. It would also let us know. It would also let us categorize, I don't know, like bundles of text. For example, we have, how many abilities do we have? We have 1, 2, 3 plus 7, 10 per character. So 100 abilities plus 2. 102 abilities for just adventurers. Probably a ton of perks, etc. Those don't need much context for translators. UI strings, though, may need more context. English 4 words, German 1928 words in a book. German roughly requiring about 1.5x the space. Yeah, one thing that people do for this sometimes is they use pseudo language localization, which is, there's an example. I just wanted to show an example of this. Yeah, like here. So you can clearly read that this has account settings, but it's using different diacritics. It's got a bunch of padding on the side so that if the string is longer, you can tell. So now as an English speaking person, you would see this show up in the UI. And as long as you don't see this get chopped off, you're like, okay, well, it'll probably work in German then. And as long as you don't see anything like vertically cut off or characters rendering weirdly or as question marks or something. Yeah, back when I worked at Microsoft, this is what they did. And I thought this was a really smart way. But like, am I going to do that? Should I implement a pseudo localization thing so that I can test for truncation myself? You know, a lot of the game doesn't have a problem with truncation, thankfully. Like I said, we have 102 abilities. They're just going to make the tooltip bigger. And this tooltip could have like 10 times the amount of text. And no language is going to translate to, 500 lines for a for an ability. So yeah, a lot of that's going to be fine. Actually, really any tooltip. In fact, kind of most things that we have automatically resize. So it's things like money, which if this were a gigantic word would probably push the boundaries of this. Same thing with tab titles over here, this stuff. That can all bump where things show up. But in general, I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem with truncation. Just based on where all this text shows up. Same thing with dialog boxes. Like this can become very large if we needed to. And it won't be an issue. It would be an issue if this were spanning like the entirety of the screen. But again, how would that ever happen? I don't think there will be too much of a problem with truncation. There may be a problem with diacritics though, since our font may not have all of the glyphs. Hmm. Well, I don't think we're even going to be translating to every language. In fact, I wonder what Microsoft translates to by default for all of their stuff. Like, is it like 30 languages? Yeah, we have a custom font that Quickie Joe made, and I don't remember all the characters it can render. There's that Glypher app or whatever it is. Yeah, here. If I load this up, we can just go inspect it. Then we got to go find fonts. Yeah, who knows? Basic Latin. Okay, we've got a decent chunk of them at least. Like, I don't know what's missing. Certainly not at a glance, I don't know what's missing. And then we have even more. And maybe some of these are like automatically created. I don't know. Spacing modifiers, general punctuation. But either way, I think once you've made like 6 or 7 of them, it's probably not that hard to make more of them. Translated over 100 languages, man. Yeah. Well, if we did have how many languages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me. So if we have 8 languages, then it means our cost per word is probably about $1.20 per word for the whole game for human translations. I wonder if there's a limit to the Google Translate thing that we can do. Like, are there rate limits on this? I guess even if there are, we could just span it over multiple days. But I didn't know how many words I had, did I? I probably estimated like 2,500. So yeah, it cost a few $1,000s for localization. By the way, if you knew the game was going to do well, you'd probably happily pay 2,500 to potentially like multiply your total market by 3 to 5 or something like that. But if the game isn't going to do well, then this is just a waste of money. So yeah, how much did we test it first and see which languages we're going to actually need? Well, let's copy this over here. Seems like the top languages to target would be those. I'm not sure about the order. So how much did it cost per word of AI translation? Let's look at AI translation service. I could have sworn there was something with, why am I want to stop using Bing. Where for Bing rewards. Translate 10x faster with no loss in quality. Get human level translations at scale, proven by real usage data. Chat with sales. Why don't they just have a pricing thing on their page? FAQ. How much does it cost? Why is there just chat with sales? Silly. Hey, Miko. Can you build into the game a way for players to submit feedback on translations or help translate the game into new languages? Yeah, that could be done. There are community translations that some games have. I don't think I would want to go that route. But yeah, oh, it says pricing. I didn't see it. I'm surprised they don't have it on the... Aha. They don't have it on the top or in the FAQ. It's 120 per month, but billed yearly. Can you change this? Yeah, you can. 140 per month if you get 1 month. But what does that include? Unlimited projects, mobile SDK, API, 5,000 hosted keys. What is a hosted key? There's a free plan. 500 hosted keys. Oh, strings. I see. Huh, interesting. You can use a limited version for free forever. What is the limited version? Oh, I see. It starts at Pro and then kicks you back to the limited one, which is this. Interesting. Hey, fix it. Spirited community translation. Hmm. Well, I should probably write this down. What method of translating should we use? Pure AI, AI to human review, pure human, community translations. Hmm. I guess it could be AI, human review, or community translations. It's an interesting workflow. I wonder how you would do. Wonder how you would do this in a game, community translations thing. Because ideally, you'd want to make the UI easy for the player, right? Like, suppose you wanted to help translate this. There probably had to be some way that you could, like, I don't know, alt click it and it would do something. Hey, Sofameyer. My game, I'm currently using Google Translate to test my engine setup, and then I'm planning to use AI with prompting until I can get community translation or pay for official translations. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still just kind of collecting some information for now. Yeah. What will the workflow be? Jake, thanks for the resub. Welcome back. Ohio to you too. That'd be wild. Create a mechanic where players can change all the text or whatever they want, and you save that as if it's a new language. Well, with any community translation, there's just got to be some way for you to identify the right string that you want to change. And one way of doing it could just be like here it says the garbage slime will automatically eat an item. So we search for the garbage slime will automatically, and we find it here. Or maybe it's not that exact one, but anyway, the process would be pretty much the same. And then someone could be like, oh, the ID is number whatever 4023. Like change this to be this French string instead. That's kind of sucky for the person doing the translation. So ideally you'd want like a better or faster way to do this. Yeah. When I've seen community language edits before, it's more like you upvote strings that you see fit and look correct. Yeah, so yeah, anything that adds another UI layer onto here. What's tough about this is that when you hover over this icon, it gives you a string that actually has some amount of dynamic content in it. So we need some way of indicating that like that string, which you can't actually hover over because the tooltip then goes away, that string is the one that I want to upvote or downvote. So there actually need to be like upvote and downvote buttons here, but you might think it's for the level or for the gold or something. I think I'd probably do pure AI and then have community fix weird translations. I might have an option in the pause menu to bring you to a Google form or Discord and have a translations channel. Did something through Discord. You can go there and check. Don't really remember. The developer tooltip that says the UID of the string. Yeah, that's true. Could have IDs directly in here. And maybe a way of showing them. Interesting. I should write that down. If we have community translations, we could just support this through Discord and have a way of enabling IDs for each string. Just need to make sure those numbers don't change across game versions. Why do translation? The why do translation is for just people who want to play the game in their native language. That's all. Recently had contact with customer service from a computer company. My OS is Ramen 11. Yeah. Hey, Tolus. We're holding Shift Alt something. We'll keep the tooltip open. Yeah. It could just be holding a key on the keyboard. Maybe it's a Boolean option in the settings. All right, well, I haven't gotten an answer on this part just yet. So this in particular, whatever this service is a monthly fee. And it is kind of interesting that you could use this for 500 strings at least and see how good of a job it does. In fact, you know what? We should probably write some of this stuff down. I should probably test against multiple services here. I should probably consider testing with multiple services just to see what they're like. This has a free tier that allows for 500 strings. Monthly fee for localization. I mean, I think they're just trying to make money. Like knowing that you're going to keep developing the software, why not keep you minimally on something like this so that they keep pulling in money? All right, let's keep looking. Deep L, this is what I heard about. I heard that this is very good. And I was, okay, so a long time ago, I don't remember what I was doing, but I was on Reddit and I heard about this and how it's doing like almost as good a job as human translators. Apparently, again, I don't know. It wasn't in the context of game dev. What is their pricing for this? This is also some monthly thing, yeah. 300,000 characters per month. 3 editable file translation? What does it even mean? Full page translation. I find this hilarious. Their free plan apparently does not have maximum data security. Oh, I see. So it's not training models in this one. They call that data security. That's kind of funny. At least on free is I couldn't give an explanation behind what I wanted translated. So if it was a gameplay term, it might not translate it correctly. Interesting. Interesting. And the free plan allows for 50,000 characters per month. Yeah. Sofameyer said that you can't provide context to the strings, though. For $50 a month, we can hash your passwords. All right, it seems like a lot of these, you blend AI with human creativity. Wonder how much the human part of this comes in. Anyway, let's click it and find out. Oh, I see. This is like a contracting model. Carpaccio. Oh, man. That's pretty good. Now translated to New York City. Actually, probably can't put that in chat. Cloud translation. What is this? Accelerate global growth with quality translation at scale, powered by Gemini. Whoa, what? First 500,000 characters sent to the API to process per month are free? What? That seems pretty permissive. Pre-trained custom model or translation specialized large language model. Comes in basic and advanced. Both provide fast and dynamic translation, but advanced offers customization features like domain-specific translation. Wow. It's pretty interesting. It's in Jersey guy. Thank you. You know, Facebook a long time ago, back when everyone was fine with Facebook, had pirate as a language, I think. It would be kind of funny to have New York City English as a language in the game. 500K characters per month for free. Oh, free? Yeah, interesting. I wonder how much it costs after that. They must have a pricing page here, right? Pricing. 500, it's $20 per million characters. I have no idea what that means in terms of Skeleseller, though. Do I still have that thing of strings open somewhere? I don't know. I have so many. Oh, there it is. Okay, so how many characters is this? 1, 2, 4, 4, 4. And we said that that was probably not as many as we'd need, so it's probably like 30,000. But what is it just an input character or is it output characters too? Either way, this is pretty good. This is 500,000 characters for free. Huh. Custom translation. What does that mean? Huh, interesting indeed. What is custom translation? Also, I wonder if Azure has something and AWS has something. Train and use a custom translation model. Create a translation data set and import segment pairs. Train a model. Evaluate the model. Okay. After that, just switch accounts. Hey, oobly booblies. Garbage slime. No idea of input and output costs. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Does AWS have some like translation service? Amazon Translate. And what do they charge? Pricing. You pay as you go based on the number of text characters, including white space characters that are translated per month. Easy to get started. Translate up to 2 million characters monthly. Free for up to 12 months. Oh, interesting. As part of the free tier, you can get started for free. Offered for some translation services. Available to you for 12 months starting from the day of your first translation request. I don't like that idea. And does Azure do something? Azure Translate service. Azure text translation. Do they have a pricing page? They do. Free. 2 million characters of any combination of standard translation and custom translation training. Free per month. Wow. 2 million characters per month for free. This is kind of crazy. I could probably translate the whole thing completely for free. Man, that would be nuts. Consider it done. Any notes, Xyletics? Like, was it good? Was it easy? I still don't know what the workflow for this stuff is going to be. Also, 500,000 characters per month means that you could, if you start now, you could like get a 500,000 this month and then another 500,000 in December and just piecemeal it out that way. Once you've translated 80% of the game, you shouldn't need 500,000 characters per month at that point. Like I can imagine adding, you know, a few perks or a few skills or something and having it be like 1,000 characters. Yeah. Yeah, this is really interesting. I definitely want to consider these things. And especially this, I mean, 2 million characters per month. Let's bump that up to the top. I'm not going to write down AWS. Well, I guess I should write it down. AWS has a free tier, but only for 12 months. And what does theirs do? I don't think I'm going to use it because I had an AWS account a while ago. Although I don't remember what email address I used. I guess I could always just use a different one. But I'm not trying to I'm not trying to fraudulently sign up for accounts. Did I close it? AWS translation service. I did. My point was though that if I sign up with the same email address, they might be like, well, you used your free tier a long time ago. I'm surprised it's not in the always free tier. Well, I guess it makes sense that it's not. I think things like compute are in the always free tier. Yeah, so what do you get? 12 months of how much? 2 million characters? Yeah. Hey, Galaxy Inferno, I am indeed back. Welcome back to you too. Free and local. Firefox translation. Added new translation features allow you to seamlessly browse the web in your preferred language. I don't care so much about the local aspect. Does this have a standalone tool? I guess this is the standalone tool. Thing is, this doesn't let me add context. It's built in. Unless you treat it as translation as a service, every time your game displays text, it checks for the currently tagged language. Oh, man. You know, that sort of thing is actually on NVIDIA graphics cards as a feature for video games. What is it called? AI text or something like that? Where is it? I don't know. It's an ACE. Is this it? Suite of digital human technologies for middleware and game developers that powers knowledgeable, actionable, and conversational game characters. Yeah, it's this. There's some on-device model you can use for dialogue. And the problem with this, in my opinion, as a game developer at least, is that you can't rely on someone having access to this. So you need there to be hard-coded strings for the people who don't have an NVIDIA card, or else they can't play your game. So if you're going to do that anyway, then does it really help to have AI conversations in your game? And how much is the AI actually contributing to the immersion of the player? Like, you know, in old video games, you talk to an NPC and they'd say something like, "This town is great to live in." And you talk to them again and they just keep repeating the same line. Well, you'd never have that happen if you had this AI. But, like, what are they going to say? They're going to be like, "I've lived here since I was a kid. I grew up and my brother died in the war and I love eating bread." And like, they say a bunch of trash stuff. It's not going to help the game that much. I think if you tied it into some kind of decision tree for the player and then gave some rewards, or this NPC became your friend or a follower or something, but that's all super complex. It's probably possible. Also, if it's bad, they'll still blame you. Yeah. Yeah. They start going into their medical history. Oh my God, can you imagine? There's some like really fun game. Maybe it's, I don't know, Super Mario RPG or something, and you have the toads telling you about like a rash that they got in extreme detail. This is the future of Mario games, people. Oh my God. It would just be so funny. And there'd be like one player out there who's super interested, and they're like, "Tell me more, Toad. How many doctors have you seen about this?" Hey, Warlock. You can correct NPC like, "I know your brother didn't die," and he'll agree. Yeah, your brother's right there. He's complaining about a rash that he got by talking to Mario. Oh man. Okay, what else do we still need to look up here? I feel like the conclusion about AI cost is that it should basically be free. Yeah. The cost for AI to translate is basically free on Azure and GCP. I'll italicize basically. Make the world feel more alive. Yeah, that I think would be good. In fact, that sort of thing, I was really impressed when I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or Remake, I guess, the first episode. You're walking through certain towns and there are people with voiced lines. These were actually humans doing it, presumably, with voiced lines having a conversation around you just to make it not feel like it was dead in the world. And a lot of older games would still have some like ambient sound, maybe things like crickets or birds or a stream or something like that. But to have this dialogue near you, granted, if you walk by enough times, you'd start hearing the same stuff, but it was in the background for you, both literally and just kind of how you perceived it as well. You weren't probably super listening to those conversations. So yeah, now imagine if they were all like unique things. They're always just about medical history. Someone's controlling us. Someone's stuck in the text writing factory. Sure, you checked, but it's free for commercial use, right? Oh yeah, I should check that. That's a good idea. Let's look at this one. FAQ. What's the difference? How does billing work? What's the difference? Does that have volume? Actually, this should be free for commercial use, right? I think Whoa. What? Per 250 million. Oh, I see. Okay, these are some really high prices for things I don't know what these are. 120 billion build units? Is this some like pricing example? I don't know. But anyway, as far as commercial usage, I would assume this is fine. Yeah. ABC. Translating 2 million characters for personal use. Yeah, I guess that's the other thing is like, why would you need to do that? If it was for personal use, you'd probably just go to Google Translate. Who else would want it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so let me think about this. What are the other things that we need to find out still? Yeah, the workflow, I'll save that for the end for now, because I think that's going to be an interesting set of technical problems too. What method of translating should we use? So what I'm leaning toward is this. We start with AI, and we go to human review or community translations, and we make Kevin do the Spanish one. Although actually, that'll be a good way to test this, is to have AI do the Spanish thing and then see how much is Kevin actually fixing. In fact, I think that's a really good idea. All right, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do though. I think we'll aim for AI translations that are reviewed by humans. We should consider the community route. Yeah. And then we can test this with Spanish plus Kevin. Yeah. Okay, so let's delete this. What is our number of words to translate? So I don't know the exact number of words, and I think we're gonna need to spend, maybe we even do it starting today. This is gonna be the most boring stream you could ever possibly imagine. But yeah, I think we need to go through that giant list of files, which I don't even know where that is anymore. Oh wait, I had diff this in the title, right? Where did it go? Diff with this. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so somewhere there's a diff. Where'd the diff go? Oh, come on. It should be a very wide tab title. There it is. Okay, so yeah, everything green in here needs to be changed. So we go into something like Earth and Shield. And yeah, we pull out the, wait, no, this is already done. Did I mess this up? Dual targeting? Huh, weird. Oh, I didn't alphabetize. Oh my God. I don't know where it went now. It's maybe this. No, 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 it's this. There. There we go. Maybe. Concussive blow. Yeah. So we pull out all of these strings. Yeah, I think we should start doing this afternoon. I want to get a good idea for how much we'll need to translate. Although actually, if I'm going to start with AI, I guess we don't need to do that. Go next. Most boring stream imaginable. But people probably wouldn't click it. Has been fascinating for me. This part I think is interesting. I think the part that would be super boring is if I'm like, okay, let's take power reduction and put this into, you know, private const string, whatever equals that. Maybe we can have AI do that though. In fact, that's probably what we should try. See if the AI can extract the strings for me so that I don't need to do it everywhere. Huh, that's a really good plan. But I think what we should figure out before we do any of that stuff is, yeah, what is the workflow for this? Maybe we even sign up for this. This is actually, I find this intriguing to do even just as a developer, mostly because I've never done it before. If I'd done this like 5 times in the past, I probably wouldn't find it intriguing anymore. Hey, Jack, thank you. But yeah, we have research, and then we have some sort of like plan, and then we have the execution for it. And if you think about it, this is kind of how most of the streams work. The research is just kind of like design more than research a lot of times. But yeah, this has been fun so far. I've enjoyed this process. What is our number of words to translate? So that's where we have this here, right? Need to finish this. Running this command finds the files. Figure out our word burden. Yeah. How many words do we have to translate? Okay, so let's just close that out. How long would it take a human to translate everything? This I never got an answer to, but I don't think we're going to go this route, so I'm going to just cross this out. Yeah. Actually, let's do as long as we're using AI for all this stuff. How long does it take a human to translate a corpus of text? I.e., how many words per minute or day could I expect them to get through from English to, say, French? Good question. Thanks, AI. I won't even read the rest. All right, by word count. Professional human translators typically translate about 2,000 to 3,000 words per day. 2,000 to 3,000 words per day. Did I have a word count somewhere? I think I did, but I think I estimated it would actually be about. Okay, so they could probably do like all of Skeleseller in a day or two. This is assuming you even trust this as an answer, which again, I'm not going this route. I was just curious what even a rough estimate would be. All right, when should we get the translations? This is still an important question. I think if we're going to go the AI route, that we should just do this ahead of time. And I guess that brings up an interesting question, which is like, how long will this take me to do if I use AI and make the tooling for the community to help? Hey, Seshamara. I still have your Game Jam game written down. I still have not looked at it yet, but I will eventually get to it. 3,000 words is a book of 100 pages. Actually, I guess there are going to be a lot of similar words that we use too. Like if you were to, I can't easily do this, but if you were to list out, we have like 100 adventure abilities. I bet if you had a word cloud, you'd see common things like enemy, damage, I don't know, like I'm just gonna make up a word here, like defend, those sorts of things. You'd find a lot, such that a translator would be like, oh, we already have the pattern for this, we have the pattern for this, we have the pattern for this. Whereas if you were translating a novel, you have to think for every sentence, like, what are we trying to communicate here? How does this fit in the greater picture? Like, what's the tone? Thankfully, I think the text we have in Skeleseller is a lot of just like descriptive. This shoots a fireball. It does 15 damage. We don't need like the red flames engulfed the enemy and blah blah blah, and it singed the hairs on their face, and it's like we don't need that stuff. It's all pretty straightforward. Coldfire, thanks for the sub. Hello, and happy quarter of a year. Gonna translate my game 2 next year, so this isn't boring by any means. Well, like I said, this wouldn't be the boring part. This is, I think, interesting, at least to me. But if we manually change all these strings in the code, it's going to be pretty boring. Is text already in a localization file? Sorry if you talked about this and I missed it. I'm not totally sure. So Kevin wrote a lot of this stuff. And we have a thing of how to generate these. This is somewhat straightforward. We just need to run i18 generate configuration. It'll do the following. Okay, let's try running this. Because I don't think I've ever tried this. i18 generate. We do that. And what happens? I don't know whether to say congratulations or not, Jack. Are you happy about this? Also, what is going on right now? Is it even running anything? Oh, there it is. Okay, so what happened? 861 source files found. Running command. Did it make a bunch of files? Oh, it did. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is what our files look like so far. And not all of them exist, but some of them do. Although it's not super clear what these are for. Like this is the name of the ability. And then this is the description of the ability. But it doesn't say this is the name, this is the description. Yeah, I think some of this is going to be a little bit difficult. I wonder if we should pull out the variable name in some of these cases. Like we have message ID says stealth, and then we have like message variable name says display name, so you know what it is. Does that include the text in the intro, or is that recorded into the player? Time for my first adventure. That actually is in here, yeah. But this doesn't include everything. I haven't localized the whole game. We localized a decent amount of it, but yeah, not all of it. But some of these don't need to be translated at all, like these. Oh man, okay. Do I even need a spreadsheet? I don't even think we need a spreadsheet for this. So how will we annotate the .pot files? Can we add context or variable names or any other metadata? E.g., what's a good example of that? What did I just comment on earlier? There was a display name for something. Cloak of Shadows. The display names for abilities just show like this in the files. Wait a second. Cloak of Shadows. That's, yeah. It's not obvious that this is for the display name. My first job. Wasn't able to get good at DSA. Okay, well, congratulations. Everyone's got to start somewhere. So is the idea to have different builds? Looks like the script looks for strings in the code. No, it's not to have different builds, although I don't know if I have this in the game right now to be able to show you. Yeah, here. It's just that you'll click, Spanish, and now you can see a whole bunch of the text changed. Kevin already translated these things, but not everything. So like this says you have unsaved changes, but then Spanish buttons here. Yeah. Was that an unhappy face? I don't know what that was. I know what you're talking about though. I-18 and string extensions. I don't know. I think it's automatically pulling strings from here, but I don't know how it's finding that. It must be this, maybe. Yeah, somehow. I'm not totally sure. Yeah. Oh man. It's gonna be kind of crazy. Okay, well, let's keep going through the list of questions. When should we get the translations? I think we're gonna have AI as a placeholder anyway. So I guess we just do that. Yeah, well, I guess we still have to answer the question. So I want to do this before releasing. I'd also like to prove that my workflow works before moving on. That way I don't context switch too early. It'll also let me make use of the free tiers of the cloud platforms by starting in November. So yeah, I think what I want to do is come up with a workflow, get started with this for Spanish and see what it does. Because we can validate Spanish easily. And then if the workflow works, then maybe we just like max out whatever the cloud tier usage is. And maybe that means we get all the languages. Maybe it doesn't. And then we, I don't know, ask some people to test it out. Yeah. Then if everything seems fine, we can just max out our cloud usage, cloud platform usage. Keep generating other languages. Okay, that's the when part of the plan. Or like roadmap. Want to localize the game before releasing so that, yeah. Okay. And then to do, so it's answer questions, and then it's like move all of this to its own document. And then in the afternoon, it's probably gonna be like come up with the workflow or localize the rest of the code base for English. When should we get the translation? Maybe release. I want to do this before. Yes, I already wrote this down. So delete all that. Should we hold off on launching until these translations are good enough? I don't think so. Didn't Hollow Knight, not Hollow Knight, Silksong, didn't Silksong have some problems with the Chinese market and their translation? Silksong Chinese translation. They have several challenges and updates. Latest patch includes an updated simplified Chinese translation. Expressed dissatisfaction with the initial localization, leading a drop from overwhelmingly positive to mostly positive. How's it doing now? Silksong. Where is the language? Language. Simplified Chinese mixed. I'm guessing the negative ones are commenting on the where do we do this? Negative. 0.2 hours. So this probably doesn't have spoilers in it. How do I translate this? Wait, what? Shouldn't there be a translate button here? Huh. Okay. Google Translate. Oh, that didn't work. Simplified Chinese translation group, or perhaps just one person. Have you ever received trust and praise from the time you were born until now? If you have, then I think you are lying. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, they got negative reviews based on the translation. I noticed 486 people found this funny. I also find it funny. But this person then never came back and like tried the game again. That was September 4th too, so it's been a couple of months. And I guess it's gotten better since then. Can you sort by, yeah, most helpful month? No, yeah, maybe that. Yeah, okay, so look at the numbers on this. 60 hours, 30 hours, 80. These are not translation complaints, probably. There might be a translation complaint in here, but these people are not playing for 200 hours and they're like, I couldn't understand the game. So yeah, it looks like reviews got better, at least on the translation front. Too difficult for a 50 years old man to play. Yeah, okay. Roasted. Hey, Caleb. I am doing well. Translator was not only breaking NDA, but the translation was like using archaic English with Chinese. Forsooth. One direction to navigate. And hey, Krasner. Happy Monday to you too. Back from vacation here. Yeah, so okay, I think you can turn a game around at least, although actually I'm not sure why it's mixed then, right? Meh, I don't know. I think expectations from Silksong were probably much higher than they'll be for Skeleseller. Will you use ChatGPT or Google Translate? I think I'm going to try these cloud platforms and see how good of a job they do. At the same time, you played for over 100 hours and only now decided you just like it. You know, this is just a Steam thing. And it's not even that crazy when it's the number 100. But it's crazy when you see like 230 hours of playtime. Game sucked. It's like people will still leave reviews like this. And I find this just bonkers. The times I can understand it is when something changed about the game. So for example, they put in 4,000 hours and they were super happy, and then an expansion came out and just ruined the game. Yeah, okay, I can understand a negative review then. But if you're playing through the entire game, it's a single player game or something, there's no expansion that dropped or nothing changed, then yeah, playing 100 hours, playing 500 hours and being like, yeah, that game wasn't fun. It's like, wouldn't you have stopped sometime into it? Anyway. So yeah, should we hold off on launching? I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think we should hold off on launching until the translations are amazing or anything. It's just not that high of a priority since we don't know if the game is even going to do well. There, let's go. CSGO transition to CS2. Yeah, any sort of transition I can understand. But yeah, like I said, imagine if you played Super Mario Galaxy and you're just like, well, the first 40 hours were fun, but then the last 10 weren't very fun. It's like, did it ruin the game for you? Really? Like, I don't know. One of the more recent games I played that I actually put a decent amount of hours into was the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which was episode 2. I maybe played for 10 hours or maybe 15, and then I just got kind of bored. I wouldn't say it's a bad game, but I didn't feel a drive to continue playing it. And I don't leave reviews for games anyway, but if I did, I'd probably say it was a fun game. Is there a way to help with translations? I could help with Dutch and German. Yeah, I think just verifying that they're decent. I'll write your name down here. And thank you for the offer. My plan, at least for right now, is like start with AI translations and then have community reviews somehow. And I got to figure that out. So long as you say language X translation is in beta, let us know where we got it wrong. You can set solid expectation. Excuse me. I think we possibly could, but we're going to detect the language of your operating system and automatically switch to it so that when you start up the game, it's just going to say everything in Spanish, for example. And we need to make it clear somewhere, maybe on the title screen, that like, FYI, we detected that you're in Spanish. This is largely AI translated for now or something like that. But yeah, I'll write that down if I don't already have that. Where is it? Yeah, if we do use AI, we should show that in the language menu. Maybe we should even show it on the title screen somewhere if a human hasn't really reviewed it. We could even have instructions on how to help. Hey, I'll go Dev. Thank you very much. How have you been? When you localize games, a common problem is the length of text changing a lot. Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem in Skeleseller because in a lot of the cases where we have text, it's just in a dialogue and we can just expand the dialogue. Like this is kind of a mess. This needs to be changed. But for something like this, it's like these are just icons and they'll always just be icons. So when you hover over it, it can show practically any size tooltip and it should be okay. Same thing with, yeah, pretty much any ability. And this idea of hovering over something to see what it does, this is like probably 70% of the text in the entire game is just the crazy number of abilities and stuff that we have. It's like if we unlock all the adventurers, every adventurer has 10 skills. They all work the same way. So the UI is very clean until you hover over stuff and there's a tooltip. And then, yeah, this stuff needs to get translated. So we need to figure that out. Hey, 3D Extended. Happy November. Doing well. Hope you're tripping well. It did. Yeah. It was pretty nice. I went to Boston for the first part and then visited some family. And it was pretty cool. Probably more for short text. Yeah. Any buttons I think would potentially cause a problem. But like I said, thankfully we don't have too many things that are it sort of matters a lot for. When are we getting right to left translations? I don't think I'm going to target any right to left languages. And I don't know if that's a bad idea for game dev. Like if you were making a website and you wanted sales, you probably just wouldn't care where the sales are and you'd translate everything. But I don't really want to deal with that. Manage to keep the context and not just plain translate. Lots of grammar and wording doesn't really work outside of English. Yeah, I will need to do research into that. So I found out that some of the cloud platforms can do a pretty good amount of characters, and they have some like training way of doing this. Yeah, custom translation training. Wait a second, what? Oh, the free tier. Yeah. So the free tier includes training. I don't know exactly how this works, but we're going to find out at some point. Plan on adding a right side align language. This might cause issues. I don't think I'm going to. Thankfully, Godot has some features for supporting it, so maybe it's not even that hard. Hey, Chef Alton, thank you for the resub. On a 2-year streak. Hope you had some restful time off. It was, yeah. I don't think I really did any work. And even when I got back, I was productive for a tiny bit yesterday on just kind of personal stuff. But in general, I didn't really touch Skeleseller stuff. And I'm feeling pretty good as a result. I think it's nice to disconnect. We are on the first stream in November, by the way, for those who don't know. I was on vacation from like October 22nd until today. So it's the first stream in November, and I wanted to launch in Q1. And the big things that we have left are all on this. Bye. Oh, nice, you got first. They're all on this roadmap here. I can just put it on the screen so everyone can just read it if you want to. But it's basically like we're going to do localization. We got to stabilize, fix bugs. We need to fix the rest of the content and everything. Then we've got some other little things. Well, maybe not little, like achievements. Need a new trailer. So, yeah, things are on track. It's an exciting time. Yeah, glad to hear the shutdown didn't affect your travel plans. Yeah, I was really worried about that. I heard that Newark Airport, which we did not fly to anyway, but I heard that Newark was on some like restricted schedule because they couldn't get air traffic controllers. That stuff is kind of scary. Like, I've heard, I'm definitely not an expert in this realm, but I've heard that you can operate without air traffic control, but you wouldn't want to do that. And it seems like if you have a bunch of overworked people, that the chance of an accident would increase. But yeah, everything was fine. And now I don't plan on flying for a while. Okay, so where do we leave off with this? Should I implement a pseudo localization thing so I can test for truncation myself? You know, I don't need to understand German to be able to look at the strings and see if they get truncated or anything. I wonder how we could do this. Because actually one way we could do this that would probably be really easy is we just take every single string. So I just search for all of these and I just add like 3 exclamation marks there and 3 exclamation marks there. I don't know if this would work if I save this and then restart. Because I have no idea what I'm doing right now. But it might. Want to start another instance? I actually did not want to do that. Oh, wow. I didn't even know I could do that. All right, well, it didn't do anything. Probably because I changed the wrong thing. Yeah, I probably need to change the string. Let's just change something obvious here. What do we have? Bone mode, maybe? No, that's not a string that's been parameterized. Story mode? Ah, there we go. Okay, so what if we did this? Story mode. And then close out of these. They recently moved it to like the Philly area. Wow. Yeah. That didn't work either. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, there's probably some way to test this. The question is, do I even want to do that? And I don't think we have to. For pseudo localization, I don't think there will be too much of a problem with truncation. So I don't know if it's worth investing time in this. Then again, it may be easy to do by just adding a bunch of exclamation points based on the string length. Yeah. All right, what other questions we have? What does a workflow look like? Don't I have that twice? Yeah. Yeah, we got to figure out how do I find translators? How do I vet them? Yeah, we're not going to do that. How do we localize a trailer? I guess pretty much the same way. Although localizing the trailer right now, I think the trailer has a total of like 40 words in it. We could just, so there's, yeah, start a town is 3 words. There's another 4, so we're at 7. There's another 4. I mean, unless you count the hyphenation, I guess. So yeah, like we're like 15 now or something. That's 19, 22, 25. And then 6 more at the end. So 31 words in the trailer. I don't know how many there will be in the final version, but it probably won't be too different. There are only 30 words. So even at 15 cents per word, it's not expensive at all to hire humans for it. Yeah, in fact, I imagine if someone, like a couple people have already offered. So I imagine someone like April or Resco, if I was like, hey, can you just look over this script of 30 words? I'll give you the game for free. I think that's probably a decent trade. Anyway, I'm not too worried about that. So I'll just write this here. The trailer only has about 30 words. Still, I will probably go with AI at first for it, or maybe even just a chat GPT-esque thing. Reading over won't be a problem. Yeah. And thank you. Can your font account for special characters? It should have them all. I think I have the page open still. Where is it here? Yeah, we probably don't have everything. We have all of the characters that you typed though. Yeah. So I don't know what's missing, but this is a font that Quickie Joe made. So if I was like, hey, we need 2 or 3 more characters, I think it's fine. If we needed like 100, I think it'd be a problem. So for Chinese, for example, or Korean or Japanese that use a different script altogether, we're going to need a different font. But I imagine we're just going to get some off the shelf thing for that. I can like redraw all of it. And that's actually something I hadn't thought about. Yeah. We need to find a different font for other languages. What languages am I going for? This list. Yeah, no letters of the V on top. Yeah, we'll still need to look into this. Because, yeah, we probably are missing some stuff. All right, what other questions we have? It's just what will the workflow be? Okay. So I think in order to test this, do I have an Azure account? I wonder how I would do this. Because I'd like to try. I don't know what I would be leaking though. Hmm. Yeah, I guess the first thing we need to figure out is like does the how do the cloud translation or how do the cloud platform translations work? Do I want to use an API for it? Do I want to train a model? I don't even know how I would train a model. Wouldn't I need to know another language for that? Unless you could train it on just English. Maybe you could. Model while only knowing English. Yeah, I don't know how that works. The workflow, though, I don't think we need to answer this ahead of time. I think we need to just try some things out and learn more about it. Really just need to try different pieces of the puzzle out and see how things work. Huh. Yeah, so we'll probably try. Oh, you know what else we can do? We already have some Spanish strings. So we could look at, where are those Spanish strings? Yeah, we could look at something like this, show all sound controls, and see how close to this did it get. Because this is a human translated string. And if it comes up with exactly the same thing, then cool. We can probably know that we can trust it pretty well. Sorry, I was just thinking a really stupid joke. Mozart is my favorite composer. Okay, so answer questions. I think it's just the workflow bit. Yeah, need to figure out the workflow. Here are the questions I had. Okay. All right, so move all this to its own document, and then, yeah, come up with a workflow. There's a very, very difficult thing when streaming, which is working with a new platform for the first time, because you don't know what you might leak. And I also typically need to read the terms and conditions for these things. So let me see. Do I have an Azure account already? Azure account. I'm doing this off screen, but let me see if I can sign in. It's not even loading. Oh, there it goes. Sign in. So I don't know what I still have to sign in as. I probably have an account, but it might not be with. Second. Sent me a code. It didn't send me a code. We will send a verification code to verify the. Oh. Okay, engage privacy mode. Sorry, give me a sec. It's cut me off. How could you do this? There. This is the important stuff. Okay, done. Lock preview. All right, code. Type this in. Okay. Doesn't mean it'll work for the rest of that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it's just a small check that we could do. Okay, welcome to Azure. Don't have a subscription? Check out the following options. Start with a free trial. Get $200 of free credit toward Azure products and services. Wait a second. I definitely had an account. Okay, I must have used some special email address. All right, I gotta unearth that. Well, that's not something I'm gonna do on stream right now. I do want to test this later. Well, for Azure, I definitely had an account. So I need to find out what that account was. Yeah. Okay, well, I gotta take a break. How long have I been streaming for? Okay, it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. We're gonna organize this stuff, and then we're probably gonna try some of this. I don't know if I want to start it right now. But yeah, definitely starting with a break. So is it jump time? It's jump time. All right, if anyone wants to join, just type join in chat on Twitch. I mean, can't do this from YouTube. And then Jane, a number to jump. I will be back in a little bit. Hello again, everybody. Close the game. Close the game. There we go. Okay. So I want to move this to its own document. Let me go find out where to put this. I'm going to do this off screen for a sec. Also, did the whole camera move to the side? All right, that's better. Now we just need to move the green screen. Yeah, nice. All right, so Skeleseller. Where is this? It's in public. Whatever. Sure. Yeah, I'll make a new document here. Cool. This is going to be Skeleseller. Why can't I click here? Hello? There we go. Skeleseller localization. Some hardcore GeoGuessr player discovered my location. I was actually wondering if I were to post any of the photos from my vacation, how easily would people be able to find out where I was? I mean, some of the places, I think it'd be very obvious. But yeah, I wonder how little someone needs to go off of now to find something. All right, so I'm gonna move this stuff all over here. Overview. So I planned some Skeleseller localization stuff today. I probably shouldn't even say that. The document for localization for Skeleseller. Just listening to Wolfram, and he kept hitting his senior devs with X means this, true or not true. I don't know what you're talking about. But hey, Thirsty Drink, who is Wolfram and what is this? Document for localization for Skeleseller. So these are really just the action items at this point, right? I guess conclusions. I did some research and came to conclusions from that research on how to proceed. I guess I do want to include like the main goals are find a way to localize the game without spending a ton of money. The original budget for the whole game was $500. Already spent about 250. And get the quality of the translations to be as high as possible. Have you tried Notion or Obsidian instead of Docs? Yeah, I use Obsidian quite a lot, actually. I just don't always use it. Got a Y Google Docs command. I haven't tried Notion, though. Arguing the senior devs about roadmaps as critiquing them. Stephen Wolfram. Huh, I don't know anything about this person. Do they stream or something? Like how could you hear them yelling at their developers? Huh. Watching people use non-QWERTY keyboards and basically stay on the home row always tempts me. They stream their dev conversations. It does seem bold. And yeah, I think this keyboard in general, I must have videos of me using QWERTY with it, but I think there's still very little hand movement, even if you are using the top and bottom rows. All right, so we're just going to put this stuff here and then copy a link to this document and put this over here. That didn't work. There we go. QWERTY is superior, true or not true. So that sort of thing, without hearing the person's tone, I would just chalk up as them maybe, I don't know, not being a native English speaker, which I don't know anything about this person, so I don't know if they are a native English speaker or not. But once you know tone and you can sense frustration or condescension, then it changes. All right, so yeah, these are the couple of things we still have to do. I'm going to write down in this document. No, not this document. This one. Started working on the localization plan. Now, the other thing we got to figure out at some point, too, is how long will this all take? Like, is this going to take a month? Is it going to take a week? And I think the first thing we need to do is, yeah, connect to Azure. He's British. He's the most native English. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is there, like, does he care about public sentiment at all? Has he reacted to these sorts of things? Yeah, I think there's no other thing to do here than to try Azure and see what's going on. Yeah, I can't think of what else would even be helpful. Maybe the community translation thing. All right, well, I'm going to close out of every other tab that I have open right now. So we're just going to close every single one of them. The irony that I'm instilled with fear at the thought of seeing chat made up of my clients is not lost on this very setting. I don't know. I think I essentially have two audiences. I have the stream audience and then I have the game audience. And I don't think there's a lot of overlap. It's actually one of the reasons why, like, that I learned during the Botland days and why I've said, like, I'm not trying to grow the stream. Because I think the stream is accomplishing the goals I needed to accomplish. And there is some amount of viewership I need for those goals. Like, I need to be talking to people occasionally. I think getting some ideas, bouncing them off of people. But I think the sweet spot is somewhere between like 100 and 150 viewers. And then I think beyond that, you get to, it's too hard to manage the stream while also coding. I'm a paid actor audience member. I see. Gotcha, ABC. Yeah. Well, I'll play the game someday, I assume. Yeah. And it's fine if they're different audiences. I think most people in the game audience probably would not enjoy the stream, but I think probably most people in the stream audience would enjoy the game, at least this time around. For Botland, I don't know how true that was. All right, well, in order to try this then, I need to engage privacy mode again because I need to go try logging into Azure. Engage privacy mode. I don't know why that didn't work. There we go. All right, sorry, this is going to be a little bit of time off screen for a bit while I try to figure out how to get my credentials. Sign in with a different account. Azure. This one? Art tool is hosted. What? Oh man, I have two different Azure accounts. I don't I don't know what I'm supposed to be using. Okay, I'm gonna use this one. Use another account. Oh, it's a good thing I'm doing this off screen. I just accidentally pasted a password in. Verify your email. I don't even know how to log into this email. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know how to do this. All right, well, I did not expect this to be the difficult part of the stream. This is just me trying to recover my account. Oh man. What is this small window in privacy mode? That's my screen. So if I move chat around, you can probably see it moving there, but you can't actually read anything. All right, we'll send a code to... Oh my goodness, this is the worst. Yeah, this is nuts. Oh, this is so bad. Correct email. I don't know what I'm doing. It says we'll send a code to your email to verify this is your email. Enter it here, and I did, and it says it's not my email. And it says the correct email starts with 2 letters, and I'm typing those 2 letters. I'm so confused about this. Huh. Verify your email. Weird. Maybe it deleted my account? I don't know when I last logged into this, but it must have been like 5 years ago. Oh, no, there it goes. Okay, so now I got to sign in over here. Oh my God. Sorry. This is nuts. I know this is not entertaining stream content. We'll send a code to verify this is your email. Enter it here. No, why is it doing this? Oh God. So difficult. I'm just trying to sign into my email now. But I haven't touched his email account in forever. Oh my God. I have to verify like a ladder of email addresses. Okay, I finally got a code to one of them. All right, now skip signing in with my face. Stay signed in. I don't care. I'm in an incognito tab. I'm about to close anyway. You're receiving this email because your associated tenant has been inactive for more than 200 days. To continue using it, make a purchase before 2025. Oh boy. Hey, neural net. Man versus account recovery. Yeah, that's certainly how I feel. Oh man. It says we'll send you a code to verify this is a thing, but then it says it already sent me a code. Where is that code? It says people are following me on Twitch. What? Adam Learns bot. Huh. What languages do I speak? Do you plan to make the translations yourself or with community help? I really only speak English. I've tried learning some other languages over the years, and I would say I've done an okay job at best at any of them. That tiny window is real time what you're saying. Yeah, and thank you for the bits, Mars. Hey, I am you or me. So yeah, there might be some community help, but it's going to be an AI driven thing at first. But I'm just trying to log into my account. I'm having such a hard time. It's just so difficult to... Wait, did it work? Hang on a second. I think I might be in... Oh my God, I think I did it. Sign in failed. This tenant has been blocked due to inactivity. Oh, well, that's great. So what do I do? Oh my God, what a mess. What a mess. Okay, well. All right, well, let's look this up then. Azure, this tenant has been blocked due to inactivity. Occurs when it's remained inactive for an extended period. Result in restricted access. Check for notification emails, contact support. Create a new tenant. If recovery is not possible, I don't mind. I don't care. I have nothing to recover. May need to create a new tenant. How do I do this? Apparently I go over to here. All right, where's the table of contents here? You need to reactivate it. Tenant administrator can reach out to Microsoft, see phone numbers. All right, I don't want to call Microsoft. What do I do? Okay, so here's what I'm a little confused by. I had like I think 3 Azure accounts for some reason. I don't know what that was because this was probably like 10 years ago. And then I have my personal email address and I could use this Azure account, but it's for business purposes and that seems like it's a dumb idea to me. What do you use to switch apps? I use Hammerspoon for that. Is this a dumb idea? I don't know. Let me think about this. Because I could call them up and get this thing enabled again. Maybe I should just use it. It shouldn't even cost me any money, right? Okay. It's possible you hit the scenario each time. No, there was something called BizSpark a while ago. And it was some like startup incubator. Yeah. They've gotten rid of this, I'm pretty sure. Well, Microsoft for Startups, it says, was founded in 2018. But yeah, it was BizSpark before that. And then that stopped in 2018. But yeah, so I was part of this. And I'm nearly positive the customer service person at Microsoft said to make different accounts to maximize the benefits or something. And I was like, well, if they're the ones telling me that, I probably have this written down somewhere. Or I'd like logged the phone call or I don't know what. Anyway, that's probably how I got those accounts. So yeah, no, this was not a trial loopholes thing. I signed up, I got into their thing, and then like I said, I'm nearly positive they told me to go make multiple accounts. Yeah, so I guess let's bail out of this and let me go log into Azure and log in. I'll just do this off screen. It says sign in failed, sign out. You've signed out. It's a good idea to close all browser windows. Okie dokie. Stay signed in, yes. So I have an account. Multi-factor authentication required. All users in this directory will be required to use multi-factor authentication to access this on November 3rd. It is November 3rd. I guess I'll just turn this on. Works for all users. What? I don't understand this at all. And it's like the tiniest text too. Okay, so look at this. It says multi-factor auth is required for all users signing into Azure portal. As an administrator, the furthest date you could have postponed to was September 30th. They're now required to use MFA to sign into the preceding portals. Is this just an advisory thing? Users that have not... Oh, I must have already set it up then. Okay. All right, so let's go try to figure out how this thing works. Where's the link? Here. I don't think I can show this on screen. Sign in. And then what? Search for translate? Yeah, it's called Translator. Yeah, I'm there. So it says start an Azure free trial. Get $200 of free credit toward products plus 12 months of popular free services. Oh, hey, Kevin. Thank you. I started out with a small PC on this project. Have you since migrated to something different? Are you talking about Skeleseller? Because Skeleseller, I've been using the same computer since then, which is my Mac Studio. So I haven't changed computers, but also I wouldn't call this like a small machine. But Skeleseller itself is just a single player game. So it never needs another computer in the mix at all. Just players' computers. Okay, I'm a little bit confused by this because I think on the pricing page, I misunderstood. This is only for the 12 months you have the free tier. Maybe referring to the bot. Oh, yeah, if it's the bot is still running on a small PC. Yeah. You need to set up a pay-as-you-go subscription, then you should be able to create resources, translate. But is this free forever? Or is it free for 12 months? Is this a cat? Oh my god. Look at these little cats. So adorable. This is from Halloween. This is a stale picture. Yeah, free forever? Okay. The Azure credit expires. Yeah, the Azure credit I don't think I care about. Although actually I might care about it, right? Because $200 is enough to translate like 10 million characters, isn't it? All right, well, if I need to sign up for this, then I should do this off stream. Yeah. So, all right, we got to do that. So I guess on my lunch break, sign up for Azure. Pay as you go. And then write a calendar reminder for when the 200 will expire. Hey, Fax. You would come in asking about could I delete my account, right? Yeah. Is it resolved yet? No, they've completely ignored me. I realized it was causing me an undue amount of stress to just keep trying to reach out and not getting a response. So my plan is to make a video about the whole thing maybe later this month or early next month and then drop it. I don't know. I don't want to get lawyers involved or anything. I don't care that much, but I'm very frustrated with this stupid company. I'm guessing you also haven't had any luck getting your account deleted. Take care, Kevin. Thanks for dropping by. OpenAI Whisper. Yeah, I'll write that down as another thing that I can include there. You could even potentially use OpenAI Whisper. I didn't know they did translational. I guess that makes sense. I'm using Whisper for stream captions. Wait, does it do translation? Translation from those languages into English. I don't think this does what I would need it to do. But that's okay. I think just the cloud platform stuff should be fine. All right, well, I guess the question now is, what can I do if I'm not going to sign up for Azure yet? I could go get lunch. Well, I could also localize some of the code base, but I think I want to do the Azure stuff. Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's my conclusion. I'll go take my lunch break. I'll sign up for Azure now. And I don't know if there's an easy way to test it or whatever. The problem is, I don't think I can show any of the Azure stuff on screen. Yeah, I don't know if I can do that. And yeah, there's private stuff all over the place. Translator servers will have keys on it. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, well, maybe what I'm hang on, let me think about this. Maybe I shouldn't even be doing this on stream at all. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be an API, which is going to be something like, provide a string and a target language. Maybe there's context or something. And it's going to eventually spit out the right word. So like word A goes in and word B comes out. Assuming this is perfect and I had no configuration, then there wouldn't be much I need to do here exactly. We need to come up with tooling around this API. Yeah, so maybe I won't do any of the Azure stuff on stream. And maybe we'll come up with whatever workflow we can do around it. Yeah. They have a test page for it that doesn't show anything except input and output for testing translation. Yeah, I'm not certain I should even do that, though. I should probably just come up with the workflow. But this is assuming that this does a good job at translation in the first place. If it doesn't, we wouldn't be using this. Share the credits for the stream. Well, yeah, I think I should just take my lunch break anyway, but I'm still not totally certain what the plan's going to be afterward. Can I even train a model while knowing English? What do I handle formatting? A spreadsheet, how do we annotate these? Like maybe I look into this stuff. Yeah, I should do this tomorrow. Look into Azure off stream to get familiar with translation. I should sign up from my personal account. The only one I have that isn't inactive. Put the key in a separate file. But like still, imagine I had a perfect API that did this. In fact, let's say it was local and instantaneous. I have like translate.sh and you just pass in something like hello and it returns, and maybe fr and it returns bonjour. So let's say this is perfect 100% of the time, always gets everything correct. That's not like, oh, problem solved, I'm done now. I would now need to call into this with every single thing in these files. So like I would need a way of parsing this file, pulling out all the message IDs, converting them into strings, storing them in the right language. And yeah, I need to figure that stuff out. I should just assume that I have the API stuff figured out. How would I plug in the right words once I have that, though? Just give us all Azure. Yeah, you can each get 10 words. I think people still like to watch to set up the base. I think people would like to watch, but I think it's not going to be very interesting because most of it's going to be off screen. Then I'll get some like API key. And then eventually what I'm going to do is call into their API. They might have some like console command you can use that will look pretty similar to this, I'm guessing. I'll use the translate service through their shell or whatever they have. I'll pass in a word and it'll return the word in the target language. So yeah, I don't think that'll be super interesting. And the other thing too is if I do get this stuff working and I start investigating it some more and I get all this set up, I could always show this on, let's say, Wednesday. It's not like it'll even never be shown on stream. Just probably not yet. But yeah, I think the ideal workflow is to take this file. Yeah, I should probably write this down. I would ideally want to be able to regenerate an entire language. We probably need to know when we last generated a particular string for a specific language. That way we can know whether it needs to be updated or not. We would also want to know when we've overridden a string in a language. E.g., the AI says it should be word A when we really want word B. We wouldn't want to keep regenerating word A. I guess I shouldn't be putting that in quotes. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, Winakis. Happy Monday. Yeah, so this is the stuff that's going to be a little bit more difficult. And this is what I want to come up with a workflow for this afternoon. Like, how are we going to do this? Because right now, all we have is a bunch of IDs and then strings for some of them. And I think none of the strings are actually filled in, are they? No, none of them are filled in. But I guess that's because I generated this for English. Have you considered using vertical tabs? No, I haven't. I don't mind horizontal tabs, actually. And I don't usually have this many open. In fact, I can close all of the other ones that I have. When tabs become unwieldy, I find it's best to just close a bunch. Yeah, I don't exactly know how this is going to work. Also, what is this? Oh, it's taking it from the color string. Oh my God. Yeah, we need to mark some of them as just to be ignored. Ignorable. That we use for colors. I don't mind trying out the vertical tabs. I can write that somewhere. Try vertical tabs in Chrome. I'm concerned we're going to need a lot more metadata for this stuff. And I don't know what metadata would be best. I don't even know if we could feed that into the AI. I would need to know what the API looks like. I want to at least figure out what the API looks like for Azure Translate. Can I give context? Yeah. And how does that impact pricing? I'm not too concerned about that. I doubt you can give context. It's probably just a straight up translation. And that training the model is how you'd give it context. Assume I can't give context. I just need to train the model. It generated it for both languages. Scenes is where we had this though. IDs are just this. And the only context is what file it came from. Somehow hesitated because I'm scared of privacy, even when it's not even something really private. Well, typically any API that you use is going to have an API key that lets them know that it's you. This isn't really all that different from having like a username and password combination, in that it's something associated with you and you would need to keep the key private. But other than that, yeah, it all depends on what data you're putting through that API. So let's say it's weather and you're getting it for your location. They could know that with your API key, they requested it for this location, and that's probably where you live. So like if that's sensitive to you, then yeah, that could be a problem. But maybe you're looking up the weather for every location in the world, then there's no way of them knowing that you live in a particular spot other than based on your IP address, which could be obscured in some ways through a VPN. Hey, Kojen. Is this for one-off translation or user input translation? It's for translating the whole game's text. So imagine you've got a fireball skill in the game. Like we needed to translate that to a different language and the description of it to a different language. So, and we got to handle formatting too for some of this stuff. Another thing that we got to figure out. Similarly, we have formatted strings, like the hotkeys showing in bold. I don't want the AI to translate the bold tags. Yeah, I think some of this is going to be very difficult. Like this is Godot's scene format, and this is in in-game menu, for example. So if we go to in-game menu, you'll see a whole bunch of like this. Open the settings menu. Where is that? Tooltip on parent. It's in the settings button. Yeah, so right here. So this says open the settings menu here on the right side. Is there some way we can associate this with some metadata? I don't know. Oh yeah, there's add metadata at the bottom. Oh, interesting. It's very interesting. Okay, I should write that down. We can add metadata to any Godot node. We could come up with a well-known set of localization specific metadata. Like localization context. Well, I'll probably just call it I18N context. Why don't you like Community Translate? They can do it online from a website. Forgot the name. Yeah, I'll probably do some community translation layer as well. I got to figure out how exactly I'm going to do that. We could even set something up to allow people to type in the localized string and maybe an explanation or something. Even set up a UI for the community translations. It could ask for the string ID, show the English string, ask them for the target language and new text. Hmm. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of little things to figure out here. I hope we can set up most of this week, though, and then just kind of follow up, fill in the data. I don't see a way to include context in the API. Yeah, so we'd have to train it. But I don't even know how we'd train it. I should figure out how training works. Can I train a model using only English? And how much data do I need for training to be good? They have a C# SDK. Man. All right, so delete that. So message ID and message string. Our tools must be generating this. Where though? I don't want this to show here. Huh, weird. What are we doing when we generate this? It's in here somewhere. Game source internationalization. Game source internationalization. So MSG for message doesn't show up at all? It must be calling into some Godot thing to do this thing. Godot extensions. Not that. Not that. Something's generating. Okay, I gotta look at what's actually going on here. Generate. Here it is. Tools internationalization dash dash generate. So that must be something in here. Oops. Huh, that's not found either. Check this. It uses community translation. Oh, I'm familiar with community translations. This is just an example of one that's using community translations. I know there are also sites that will let you manage them a little bit more easily. I still need to think of how I'm going to do all of that stuff. What is going on here? Extracting strings from source code with xget text. You do this through the editor. Oh, generates being passed to the other thing. Okay, let's look at the project file then and figure out what their main is. This wouldn't be where it is. You would just search for main, right? Wait, what is the entry point of a C# program? Oh man, I don't know. Oh wait, oh there's more files in here. Why didn't I see these? Oh, there's generate. Oh, wow. Okay, so what does this do? It calls into this and calls extract all and forces a PO thing. Okay. Okay, I see. Xget text. Extract get text strings from source. Do we have to install this? No. This on Windows? It looks like it is. Unofficial build of GNU get text tools for Windows. So if it's going to generate these for us, then I probably can't add in context. I guess I could alter the files based on what we're generating. Hey, Arlen's. What's the reason for including the text formatting code blocks as part of the translation strings? Seems the translation should be kept separate and slotted into them. Sorry if you already answered this. Yeah, I agree with you. And the only reason was just ease of coding for right now. But yeah, there are a lot of those strings that have, let's say, a bold tag or something here. I think that if we were to get rid of formatting from this, that we would need to break this up into multiple strings where each little bit of formatting has its own like section in it. And probably we want to leave it to the language to determine this. I'm actually not too sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure. But I want to see what the ergonomics are of doing any of these methods would be. And then we can figure out improvements after that. Because yeah, maybe there's a better way to do this. Community translation stuff thing. I wanted to see if I could installation costs money. Oh, with support. Self-hosted is free. Huh, interesting. So I could just host this myself. Interesting indeed. How do you self-host it? Source code, okay. And yeah, they have a bunch of different ways of doing this. Oh yeah. All right, I should write this down too. Is there a demo or something on here? Try. How does this work? English. I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, here it is. I see. There's no context for this. Similar keys, other languages, history. Huh. Wow. Yeah, this is not going to be easy. A self-hostable tool for managing community translations on the web. Okay, so right now we're running things through get text and it's just spewing these things out. So getting more context would be difficult. I know we're not feeding context into an AI translation anyway, but for a user, I think it could be helpful. And I'm just not sure how we would do this. All right, well, I think that's some of the stuff we'll look into in the afternoon. Yeah. If we're using... So where is that program? Here it is. If we're using xgetText, then I don't know how we would adding context from the code. Extract all, join existing from code, language, add comments. Sort by file, force PO, files from output. And we have the man page open. I did have it open. Language. Recognize specified language. Place all comment blocks preceding keyword lines in output file. Place comment blocks starting with tag and preceding keyword lines. Wonder what that is. Huh. That could be interesting. I should look at that. xgetText, add comments. Because what do? We call add comments, but we don't have a tag. All right, so what is this? Place comment blocks starting with tag and preceding keyword lines in the output file. Without a tag, the option means to put all comment blocks preceding keyword lines in the output file. Note that comment blocks are only extracted if there is no program code between the comment and the string. Interesting. Interesting. So we're seeing these in here then, right? And we're just extracting all comments anyway? I wonder, I should definitely test this stuff out. Okay, yeah, this is what we're gonna do in the afternoon. We're gonna try to figure out just how we can get closer to automating this stuff and putting it in a format that we can later understand more easily. Yeah, so I think we mess around with that. Add comments. Can I link to this? It looks like I should be able to. There's a link to that, but there's no link to this one. There's a link to the next one. Wait, seriously? Oh, are these the same? Dash C tag? Yeah, they're the same. Oh, thanks for checking it out, Airlines. And hopefully it was easier with the quick rewind thing that's on Twitch now. Oh, I don't know if they rolled that out for everyone yet. Hey, Shaky. Okay, so that's what I want to take a look at. Test out dash add comments to see if I can get some context into the .po file. Even if I did, what would I put in for context? It would only help a human. It's not going to help the AI. Oh, that's interesting. C# format is there. Why is that there? Oh, I see, because of this. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Also, this isn't even a PO file, it's a POT file. Okay. I'm gonna take my break. Yeah, I've been kind of fumbling around for a bit, and let's go take a break. So it's a little before noon. I'll probably be gone about an hour, and then after lunch, I think we're just gonna keep looking at how we can automate some of this. Yeah. So thank you all for watching. I'll be back in a bit. I hope you also have a good lunch break, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.